In this video, we're going to go through a complete step-by-step guide on how to get your real estate license in the state of Illinois and start your real estate career. At the end of the video, we're going to go through a couple of other important things that you might be curious about, such as how to pick the right brokerage to give yourself the best chance of success. And we're going to go over some of the costs associated with getting licensed and getting your career off the ground. Let's dive right into the video. My name is Chris with the Empire of Real Estate YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about real estate, personal finance, and entrepreneurship. Before we get started, I want to offer you my free How to Get Licensed and Start Your Real Estate Career Guide. A lot of the stuff that we talk about in this video will be inside that guide, plus a couple extra things. So click the link down below to get your free copy. Let's dive right into it. So first, let's dive into some of the steps that you're going to need to take to be able to get licensed in the state of Illinois. First things first, you have to meet a couple basic requirements. The very first one is you have to be 18 years old or older, and you have to have a high school diploma or its equivalent. You also have to pass a background check that shows that you don't have anything on your record that would prevent you from getting your real estate license. The next step is completing your state-approved pre-license education classes. In the state of Illinois, you're required to complete 75 hours of state-approved pre-license education. Now, I know this sounds like a tremendous amount of time, and it is. But the good news is that you can do this at your own pace with online real estate classes by Calibri. We highly recommend that you check them out. There's an affiliate link down below with more information. So if you have a 9-to-5 job that you're working at, or you just have a crazy busy schedule and you're wondering how you're going to fit real estate classes in, this can be a tremendous option. It's time to actually take your exam and attempt to pass it. The real estate exam can be a little bit challenging, but it is multiple choice and you do have a lot of time to complete it. The real estate exams in the state of Illinois are actually held with a testing company called PSI Exams. So once you get done with your pre-license classes, you're going to want to schedule with PSI Exams, and then you're going to go on test day and you're going to want to bring a couple different things to the testing center. The first thing is a basic non-scientific calculator for the math portion of the exam, and you want to bring 2 forms of identification to get into the testing center on test day. This can be the most nerve-wracking part of the entire real estate license process, because now it's time to see if you pass or if you fail. The good news is if you do fail, you can retake the exam, but it's going to cost you a little bit of money to retake that exam. But I want to give you a couple pieces of basic advice that will help you pass the exam the first time around. The very first one is find a real estate study buddy. So studying with somebody that is going to go through this process with you, and you're able to kind of go back and forth and quiz each other and really work through this process of, learning all this information to be able to pass, can be a huge game changer. If you don't have a study buddy, you might want to use flashcards, right? So use flashcards, study, quiz yourself. And if that doesn't work, I would try to get involved with a program like Prep Agent. What that offers real estate study aids, and they take you through test-like simulations, and it actually gives you a higher chance of passing your test. So make sure you check out Prep Agent. I actually use Prep Agent to pass my test. If you want to click the link down below, there's an affiliate link down there, and we highly recommend them, and that will give you a much higher chance of success. But again, you might not need that if you use flashcards and you have a really good study buddy. So if you have that in place and you feel comfortable taking the exam, I would schedule it, try your best, take your time, and you will have a high chance of success. Once you pass the exam, it's time to sit back and celebrate a little bit, because you have completed a pretty long journey. You've gone through 90 hours of real estate class, you've studied hard, you've passed your exam, and now it's time to apply for your license with the state of Illinois. So you want to bundle up everything that you've done. So you want to bundle up the 90 hours of real estate education showing that you've completed that. You want to bundle up your past background check and fingerprinting, and then you want to also bundle up proof that you passed your exam. Once that's done, it's time to send that in with your license application and wait to hear back. Next, it's time to find your sponsoring broker. In the state of Illinois, you're required to work under a sponsoring broker that's going to mentor you and help you become successful in this business and hopefully keep you out of hot water. But picking a brokerage is a tall task. You can find a brokerage to work with pretty easily, but finding a brokerage that will fit what you're trying to accomplish and give you a high chance of success can be a lot more challenging. So I want to give you some tips on how to find the perfect brokerage to give yourself a higher chance of success. Because if you didn't know, this business has a 87% failure rate, and we want to try to avoid that if we can. The very first question I would ask is, what type of mentorship do you provide, and how often do I have access to that mentor? So when you're in real estate, so many challenging situations are going to come up, and you might not know the answers, or you might not know how to handle a particular situation. That's where a experienced mentor comes into play. And I would suggest finding a mentor for the first 3 to 5 deals. That way you have a rough idea how the business works, and you can handle some of the more basic problems when you go off on your own. But having the ability to pick up your phone and ask questions and have someone help you through a particular situation that's much more experienced can be a big game changer and can take a lot of the stress out of this business. The next question to ask is, what type of training do they have? Do they have some kind of blueprint that you're going to follow? Because your mentor is great, but a mentor isn't there to explain little tiny things every single day. Learning real estate is a tall task, and it takes time. So having some type of training modules or weekly training that you could attend that you will walk you through some of the more basic things can be a total game changer. So find out if they have training modules in a training course to put you through to get your career off the ground that's going to walk you through this step by step. That way you can start taking action steps alongside your mentor, and then call your mentor in when you really need help with a particular thing. Because chances are your mentor is probably still selling real estate. They're probably very busy. And if you don't have something like this, you might start to feel a little abandoned, and you really need this in place. I would highly suggest it. Last but not least, you want to talk about the money, right? You want to find out what the company offers. You want to find out what kind of commission splits you're going to get. And you want to find out if they're going to offer you any stock awards or if they have any revenue share programs in place. These are all important questions to ask. And you want to talk about some of the other things that come into it, like, are there any monthly fees that you're going to have to pay on a recurring basis? Are there any things that you're going to have to come out of pocket for? Like, if you get a listing, do you have to pay for the signs? Do you have to pay for the sign installs? What things do you have to pay for out of pocket when you become involved with this brokerage? Because you're going to be 1099 in most cases, and some of these things you have to pay for out of pocket as a self-employed independent contractor. Last but not least, don't go to a brokerage for the splits only. Commission splits are a great conversation to have, but if you're going to go to a brokerage as a brand new agent, you want to go to a brokerage that offers great mentorship that's actually going to give you a high chance of success, rather than a brokerage that offers high splits and no support. Because the truth is, this is a 100% commission-based business, and if you never make a sale because you don't have any mentorship or support, you're going to make 100% of nothing. And that's what we want to avoid. Next, I want to talk to you about how much to budget for each individual item. So getting your real estate license doesn't have to be super expensive, and you might actually be surprised at how little it costs to get licensed. So let's dive into each one of the items and give you a rough estimate of how much it's going to cost to get this done. First things first is the pre-license education classes. Now, Colibri does have sales going on from time to time, but I would budget between $300 and $600 to get these classes done. Next, let's talk about the background check fee. I would budget about $50 to get this done. Next, let's talk about the real estate exam fee. In Illinois, it's going to be a total of $100. It's $60 for the national portion and $40 for the state portion. Last but not least, let's talk about the license application fee, which is an additional $50. Then, once you find your sponsoring broker, you're going to want to see what kind of fees they have, but I would budget between $150 and $400, and I would budget about $200 to $500 for your E&O insurance, which is your errors and omissions insurance. This is going to be between $200 and $500 per year. So to get started, I would budget between $1,000 and $2,000. As you can tell, it doesn't cost that much to get started. It's just a lot of work to get through the process, but once you get through it, on the other end of that, you can be met with a really rewarding career with no glass ceiling on your income, which is really awesome. So if you like this content, definitely drop a comment in the comment section below and let me know how you're doing with your real estate license. And if you have any questions about getting licensed, drop that in the comment section below as well. I'll do my best to get back to you and help you out. Thanks so much for tuning in and have an awesome day.